You're listening to the Public Health Entrepreneurs Podcast with your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley. Welcome to Public Health Entrepreneurs, the podcast for visionary leaders who are ready to transform public health and healthcare through innovation. I'm your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley, and as a public health entrepreneur with over 25 years of experience in healthcare and public health, I understand the unique challenges and the opportunities that come along with bridging multiple disciplines. If you are an interdisciplinary professional, a high-functioning leader with expertise across different fields, then you know exactly what it's like to see the opportunities that others often miss. Well, that is also why we have focused our attention on this podcast to provide you with the types of support that you need. On this episode, we're going to talk about creating a framework. And let me explain what I mean by that. It's not just a framework. You likely already have that created, how you work with your clients, how you solve problems, how your business is solving problems. That's your framework. That's how you do what you do. But what I'm talking about is creating a visual of your framework. If you already have done this, kudos to you. You may pick up some tips of different ways that you could use your framework. Sometimes we will create these, but we're not really using them very often. But maybe you've never created one, and I encourage you to do that. This can be a high value way of visualizing your business model. I actually have one for how I coach my clients. It's speaking of public health entrepreneurs and how I work with entrepreneurs and guiding them to creating and growing their business. My model, the framework that I have, and I share it every time we're in an in-person mastermind. I share it whenever we have a strategic goal planning session. It is a framework around how to accomplish your goals, how to reach your goals as a business owner and an entrepreneur in public health. And there are four categories, 4 areas that we focus on that are all overlapping because they all overlap with each other. They're not independent of each other, but they all are very important parts of how you accomplish your goals and reach your goals. So I talk about it quite a bit on these episodes. I'm always sharing on these episodes from that framework. I don't always reference that framework, but if you're in our mastermind group program, you're familiar with it because we go over it all the time. I reference it often. If you ever meet with me to discuss working with me, I often will reference it then. If you've ever attended in person with any type of, like back in the old days, we had the expo in person. I referenced it then. We have a visual of it. I use it on my slides. And it's a great way for people to visualize how these things work. And when we have these kind of aha moments and light bulb moments, for example, the previous episodes, I spent a lot of time talking about networking and the conversations you should be having regularly, attracting those clients to you. That comes from the framework of how I coach clients and how it aligns perfectly with how you accomplish and reach your goals as a business owner. Now, in my consulting business, I also have a framework for how we provide our epidemiology consulting services to our clients. And that framework is pretty elaborate, very involved. It's a more robust framework, more pieces and parts. So I have that visual because it's very helpful for potential clients, prospects, and established clients to understand how we work with our clients and how we solve these problems. So if you don't already have a visual representation of how you work with your clients, of your business model, I encourage you to do that. So it's a very, like I said, high value way to visualize your business model. It also provides talking points for you in any presentation. So when you are having any level of sales calls, whether it's a presentation on a webinar, or maybe it's a meeting with a small group of folks and you're explaining how you can work with them, you can always have that framework that you pull up on the slide. And for my consulting business, for example, like I said, it's detailed. It makes sense. It's a very good talking point. But sometimes when I pull that framework up, I'm only going to speak to one part of that framework in that meeting, in that presentation. It helps to drive home the message that I'm trying to drive home. I'm not looking to overwhelm them with every bit of the framework and all the aspects of working with us. But it allows them to see and visualize how I'm helping them solving their problem, but also they see that there's more to what we offer, more to what we do. It's not when it's done well, it's not something that will confuse your clients or overwhelm your clients. It's something that helps them feel like, oh, yes, I'm in the right place. They know what they're doing and they've got it covered. They've got a system for this. So it's a very high value visualization. It's also a great use in any talking point of your presentation. No matter where you are, you can find your framework to be very useful addition to your slides in any conversation. Sometimes if I'm meeting someone, it's like one of those introductory discovery calls. I'll have that ready in a slide, and I may just share that one slide of the framework and just speak to whatever part of that is relevant to the person that I'm speaking to and the project that I'm discussing with them. And then one more thing to say about this framework is that it's also great to be used in created, like printed materials. So if you're going to have a booth in an exhibit hall for a conference, having printed materials with your framework is sometimes a very good printed piece of material to have at your table, to share with people that are coming by to speak with you and talk to you. It's just really high value all the way around. I find that sometimes when people create a framework, they have this process of how they work with their clients and the problem they solve. They have it down to a science. It's in their head. They've done it a few times with clients and they know what to do. And I find that creating this visualization, it takes that consultant, that entrepreneur to the next level. You feel the confidence. You can see the confidence go up and it becomes something that can help you stay aligned. I remember one time someone says, oh, thinking that my business is veering off into a whole different direction. Speaking about my consulting business, I was like, oh no, this is exactly what we've been doing and who we serve. It's just how the deliverable, the way it's showing up is unique to this situation. But this falls right here in this part of my framework. And I was showing how we do the same thing that we've been doing and serving the same people we've been serving. But the creativity comes in sometimes how the deliverable shows up or how it's created is unique to that organization. Does that make sense? Is that kind of resonating with you? Maybe some of the work that you're doing. I'll give you a solid example, a community assessment, whether it's the traditional community needs assessment or a different version, but a community assessment can look very different. It has the same elements. You're doing some research. You're getting clear about the community indicators that you're decided to focus on. That structure is very similar from project to project, but those actual indicators are different. Those variables may look different from project to project, and you may create the printed version of the report will look very different. And it may not be the standard PDF that you create. It may be a slide deck that you create. It may be a video that you create. It may be an online dashboard that you create. So those are the creative pieces of that element of that project. So just keep that in mind as you are. I think that it helps to recenter you if you have that framework, that visual. If you feel like, is this veering off or not? No, you go back to it kind of recenters. You go back to your framework and say, no, this is right on point. So if you don't have one already, if you have one already, great. I'm wondering, how are you using it? Is it something did I give you some ideas about new ways that you can use it? And if you don't have one, you're thinking, well, where do I start? A great place to start is Canva. So Canva is and you may not be the person to create it. Maybe someone else on your team creates it if you're not that Canva person, or maybe it's something you outsource, but create something to get started. Once you've used it a few times, you'll know, oh yeah, this is it. This is it. Or you may use it a few times and decide it needs to be adjusted. Once it hits that sweet spot and you think this is it, I encourage you to, this is something I would invest a little more in and go to a graphic designer. I have a graphic design team that we use often. And once you know it's working well, then maybe it's something that you spend a little bit more to get something that's really on brand for you and looks really nice, and you can share that more. I wouldn't necessarily encourage you to go spending a lot of money to create it initially, because until you use it a few times, you're not sure if it is exactly the way you want it to be. And I would hate for you to spend a lot of money to create something up front that you then have to revise and constantly reiterate. But once you have that, it's a great high value tool. So consider developing a visual framework of how you work with your clients or how you solve problems, which is what we do as consultants and entrepreneurs. Now, as we wrap up this episode, if you would like to work with me one-on-one to help you really create that or figure out what to do first or next, I'm happy to do that. That's a great strategy session. and a great investment of time and resources to get that fleshed out. And I can help you in that way, or any other one-off type of challenge to either getting started or getting unstuck where you feel like you're kind of stuck in the same spot. I'm happy to work with you one-on-one based on availability, but I'm able to do that. If you are ready to join a community of high-functioning leaders like yourself, consider applying for our premium mastermind group program, because you'll connect with other professionals who are also bridging multiple disciplines and creating meaningful change in public health. Visit publichealthentrepreneurs.com to learn more, and the links are also provided in the description in the show notes. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for listening. Visit publichealthentrepreneurs.com to learn more.